I do believe we're live.
Are we?
I think we are.
How nice.
Yep. I think we did we actually pull this off?
I don't know.
I don't know how many satellites had to link up for this to happen, but wow.
I'm hoping that you're gonna hurry up and get some people, early viewers.
Well, that's what's going to happen here. We're just kind of sitting here waiting and seeing if all of this is working or not.
Right.
Hey, there we go.
Look, we got some guys. Hey, can you see us okay?
Are we coming in clear, or are we coming in grainy? Because this is the first time we've tried this.
Who is that?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Yeah. Hey, look at
James, Steven,
ZR700. ZR700, you're the big winner. Right on.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. What do we got going on? Oh, I know.
There's a couple of you there now.
Wow.
Wow.
Here we go. Very nice.
Very nice. What a reception. Thanks, guys. Wow.
They're saying it's a little pixelated, a little grainy. Okay. Yeah. I watched it. I watched it throttle back a little bit because I don't have high-speed internet here. What you're seeing is being shot up to the HughesNet satellite, then back down to you. So it is what it is, guys. It's the best I can do for being in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Wow, look at all you coming in. Hey, this is just
insane.
Great.
This is great. Thanks, guys.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You guys are just, I'm telling you, I got the best subscribers on YouTube.
You do, Glenn. You do.
You guys are just awesome.
You attract a good element of people.
Well, and everybody, you guys, you're what helped make the channel successful. This is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of that, and I want to touch on this real early on because Gly had a milestone that he'd been shooting for.
That's right,
and that he earned, and he earned 100,000 subscribers just last week.
Finally got there,
and that's a big deal to him. And I know it's a big deal to you guys to see that happen for him. And some people have sent some stuff in. And so I want to do that and get it out of the way as quick as we can.
Yeah, let's do that. So I've got 2 items here. Let's start with number 1.
Start with number 1. Gly has to get it because he's sitting on that side.
Okay, so this comes from Miss Julia's class. Miss Julia teaches 9th and 10th grade special ed at Pacific High School, and she has about 10 students, I believe. And so this last Christmas, her and her students put this together for me. This is just great. Look at this. Isn't that cool? I got you guys. You guys are great. Whoa! Yeah. The glue kind of came apart, but there we go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Hey, and I got to tell you guys that stuff like this means more to Gly than anything.
Yeah, it really does. As a matter of fact, every time, the last time that you saw it on one of my previous videos, if you look up there.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There's the one on the wall from Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Right.
Guys, that's just great. It really makes my heart feel good. But then Julia sent another.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we have here? Okay. Jeez, we're all full of glitter now.
Uh-oh. We're going to look like we've been out.
All right. This here is a 100,000 subscriber gift also from Miss Julia. And
he doesn't know what it is. He sent it.
That's
Miss Julia sent it to Mary.
Yep.
And I brought it back with me from Nevada just last night.
Yeah, so the way this works is if you guys send anything to me, it'll end up in Goldfield, Nevada, and then eventually it'll work its way down to wherever I'm at in the world.
That's if it makes it past my P.O. box, because that's where it's going to.
Yeah.
So if it's like a really nice set of like Bose headphones or something like that, he's liable to not get it.
What do we have here? You sure wrapped this good, Julia. Wow. Jeez. Okay.
I'm starting to make out the shape of a box.
Uh-oh, there it is. It's coming together here.
Uh-oh. Wow.
Oh. Oh, yes.
What is it?
A brand new fifth of Jameson.
But isn't it
18-year-old limited reserve too? This ain't the bottom of the barrel. This is the good stuff here. 18-year-old limited reserve Jameson.
You know, it's funny. 18-year-old Jameson and Gly'll polish it off in about 45 minutes.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate that. I will be nipping on that in style this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll make sure he does.
All right.
That's really nice, folks.
That
really
is
nice of you. Anyway, big deal. You got 100,000 views or subscribers. Let's move on.
What are we moving on to?
I don't know.
Okay.
How about we talk a little bit about, well, why don't you answer some questions?
Let's see what we've got going on here. So
there's a bunch of hearts.
Yeah, there's a bunch in here.
Look at all the hearts.
It says here, would you ever hit any mines in Alaska? Yes, that is one of our bucket list things to do. We want to grow this channel to where eventually we are helicoptering into locations in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the channel's growing right now, that's definitely a real possibility.
We'll probably be doing Alaska next week.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all that, but yeah, that's definitely something we want to do.
Look at all the hearts.
Oh my gosh!
What's with all the hearts? Are any of them to me?
Yeah, I know. It's you got a lot of you guys are saying activate super chat. I don't quite have that. I would have to remove myself from the screen right now to do that, and I don't want to because we finally got this thing up and running. Sorry about that. We'll try to get that together for next time.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Plus, anytime you want, you can talk about what our next step is. I just got back from Nevada and Oregon. Because I had some work to do on my house in Oregon real quick, and I did that. And also, I have people at the steel outlet in Roseburg, Oregon, and they cut us a bunch of pieces of material and put holes in the right places in all the material. And I took it to my shop in Nevada on my way here and did some welding on it and stuff. And we've actually are getting ready to paint and put the stickers on the schnozelator 5,000. Well, yeah, Gly said he's never going to say 5,000, but he just did. Anyway, it's a device that we came up with out in this need is the mother of invention. And we came up with a device that's going to be able to go on tripods and come off of the front of Better Bob or Old Bob and hang out over a mine shaft.
Right.
And actually be able to use all the belay and main lines off and cross pulleys. And we'll be able to winch assist his ascent.
But let me tell you guys how we developed the channel to get to the schnozelator 5,000.
Good idea.
Okay. So when I started this channel, I had a goal in mind, and that was to allow the channel to pretty much just kind of grow organically over time. I didn't want to come right out of the gates and immediately climb Everest. I wanted the channel to grow progressively up to 100,000 subscribers before we started really getting into the level 4 and level 5 mines. And that's exactly what's happened over the last year and 10 months. All of the donations for the tip jar, YouTube ad revenue, 100% has just been dumped right back into the channel.
All of it.
All of it. And that's what's allowed us to build all this or obtain all this new equipment, all the rope, all the climbing gear, everything that has brought us up to this point. So guys, if you want to know how fast you can progress a YouTube channel, if you dump 100% of its combined revenue back in, this is what you get. You get a great YouTube channel in less than a couple of years, and I'm just really proud of it. And I met my goal by being able to start these class 4 and class 5 mines with the schnozelator at 100,000 subscribers, and that's what we're getting ready to do right now. The thing is right outside. I got to see it for the very first time last night. I mean, you could lift an engine block with this thing safely. That's how stout it is, and that's going to really.
It's going to need to be.
Yeah. Hey now, hey, my diet's working.
It
now.
is. It is.
So yeah, it's going to really keep things nice and safe. Well, for the most part, when you're roping into an abandoned mine shaft, there's no really 100% safe about it.
It's going to minimize unforeseen rock fall from messing with the lip or top or ground
exactly
at the collar of the adit.
Because when you're going down a mine shaft, you don't want to touch anything, because if you're touching anything, you could tickle something that could just let loose at the next vibration. And if you're at the very bottom of a 300-foot shaft and that rock or that board or whatever it is, it's kind of like, let me give you guys a.
Here we go. We're going to use a paper towel tube to do a demonstration.
Here's a good visual aid. Okay,
right,
I got a paper towel tube right here. Okay, so imagine if I'm dangling somewhere inside this paper towel tube. Okay.
Oh my God.
I only have from this side to that side. Now here's a penny. Now this penny here.
No, just fuck, like
is a rock.
Okay. Get something else. Get some.
See, it has nowhere to go but hit me right on top of the head.
Right.
You're repelling in a funnel, and if something lets go, it's going to funnel right on top of you. That's the dangers of repelling into a vertical shaft, and that's why we created the schnozelator, so that it can literally lower me dead center on the shaft without me having to touch anything on the way down.
Brilliant. No one's come up with anything like that. Isn't it odd that Gly had an empty
that was
paper
not
towel
that was
tube?
not prearranged.
That wasn't.
No, not at all. It was there all along.
Yeah, right. That's great though. That was a good analogy. Sorry for interrupting and stuff.
Well, that's what you always do. You are Captain Interruptus.
I am, but around, honestly, who among us isn't? When you're talking if you're hanging out with friends and you're talking and you're cutting up, you're going to throw something in every chance that you get, especially around this guy. If you don't do it, then he who hesitates is lost.
Oh, okay. What do we have here? Well, let's see here.
Looks like,
yeah, there's always going to be some crazy people in the comment. We got spammers.
Oh yeah,
you crazy spammers. Okay,
I see the hula girl and duck in the background. Yep. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the hula girl. Go ahead, Gly. You can do.
So you got hula girl in the background. There's quackers there. That's Chirpy.
Chirpy right there.
That's right.
That's mine.
Yep.
Gly insisted that I bring like before we got O2 monitors and stuff like that, we used Chirpy.
And then over there behind Mr. M's head, you got Mr. Bill, and
and
you'll be seeing more of Mr. Bill because
Gly wants to tie him to his backpack and drag him around with him in all these places that he goes. And I'm telling him, like, isn't it bad enough that you're dragging me around in there? What Mr. Bill do to you?
He's my good luck charm.
Yeah, Mr. Bill's his good luck charm. Did you hear that?
What do you say we answer a few questions here from the folks?
That'd be nice.
Okay, what do we have? Let's see if I can slow this down a little bit, because it's really flying here. Okay. Thankfully, let's see.
Hey, from the UK. I like that. From Jesus. Oh. Joss. Joss01. Right on, Josso. Tell both of your friends in the UK to tune into us and to watch Abandoned and Forgotten Places. And we haven't even done a big pitch yet for Abandoned and Forgotten Footage. Yeah. My new breakout show on YouTube.
We were getting to that. I was building up to that.
Yeah, you see how he builds up to it. This is the hula girl and quackers.
There was a crescendo. There was a crescendo coming for Abandoned and Forgotten Footage, but don't just settle down there. It's gonna.
I've almost got
Oh, hey, look what we have. We got Randy.
Randy is here.
Randy's
nice.
online.
Randy's here.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
I was going to put a picture up of you, but
we can't stand looking at you.
I ran out of toner, man.
We can't stand looking at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad enough we got to look at you every day in the back of the Jeep. But I tried to print it out, but the toner ran or it ran. I don't know.
The potato might go in the front, but Randy goes in the back.
By the way, Randy.
Yeah.
The potato goes in the front.
Oh, and Randy, thanks for your help yesterday on the Schnozelator 5000. It was Gly is really happy with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, it's better than I expected.
And the real reason Randy's not here is because he's taking care of a business that I have in Nevada. And this allows me to goof off and run around and document mines with Gly, and have my business still working. So much appreciation to you, Randy. Seriously, you're a great asset, a good friend of ours, and we like you and we miss you. And thank you.
We do. It's just not the same. I can't wait to get back to Nevada. We can have some more Randy time.
Oh, he's redoing the he found some flat rock and he's redoing our
our fire pit
at the St. Paul gold mine.
Hey, so Jen Woodward here asks, how's old Bob doing?
Oh, that's a tough question.
I tell you what, I have been so stressed out by everything I've had to go through with old Bob in the last 2 months. Like I said in my little pitch the other day, I had a whole brand new drivetrain put in place, but when they pulled it all out, you know, all of the wires that come in and hook to your transmission and hook to the transfer case, when those wires are in their happy place for 23 years and then you move them, well, all the insulation cracks and crinkles and falls off, and it just opened up this huge can of worms. And then, oh my gosh, it's just, but anyways, he's this close to being done. We got one more hurdle and I can move on with my life. But boy, oh boy, did he throw a monkey wrench in this system. Yeah, he's tired of hearing about it because he's the guy that I've been venting on. And
poor Bob, poor Better Bob. We've been having to drive the Better Bob everywhere, and so now he's limping on the front right wheel. But we'll get that taken care of too.
Frankie says, what is Gly short for? We never heard about it before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's how, Gly. Yes, that's my nickname. And I've had that nickname since about the year 2000, 2001. Back then, I used to build super fast gaming computers. It was a side hobby of mine that I really enjoyed. And that was
like this one.
Yeah, like that one right here that I built for the channel. But back then, liquid-cooled computers weren't the norm like they are right now. If you wanted to build a liquid-cooled computer in early 2000s, you had to go to your aquarium store, the fish store, and buy plumbing parts and stuff and pumps and stuff like that to cool your processors and all that other good stuff to make a fast gaming machine. So I would build these machines, and then online I would compete using software called 3D Mark with people all around the world trying to come up with the fastest scores to build the fastest gaming computer. And in the chat rooms, eventually everybody, people started giving me the nickname Gly because I was using ethylene glycol for the coolant for my computer. And Gly led to Gly Coolness. And from that point forward, everybody in all the chat rooms called me Gly Coolness, and the nickname stuck. And I thought, hey, what a fun thing to do, to carry it forward to abandoned and forgotten places. And here we are. And that's the story of Gly Coolness.
Oh, I think I nodded off for a second there.
It's not hard to do. You even nod off when you're driving.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All right, what else we have here?
Glycol. Somebody actually wrote glycol.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's basically just antifreeze. That was a fun hobby back in the day. I enjoyed that. Okay, let me slow that. Wow, you guys, I'm telling you, you just are awesome. the feed is coming in so fast here, I can hardly keep up with all your questions, but I'm going to try.
Looks like a freight train going past.
Let's see.
So anyway,
John Lee Richards says, how did Randy get his head out of the pickle jar?
they had to break the jar.
They had to break the jar.
Have you not ever seen the sign, in case of emergency, break glass?
I suggested he used Vaseline, but he says he's already been down that road once before and didn't want to go there.
He's gone beyond Vaseline. He uses Polygrip now. Gotcha on that one, huh, Gly?
Let's see. So Frank says, well, what is your actual name? Well, we'll just leave that alone.
It's not a very pleasant name. I mean, you know, they like in the Germanic languages, sometimes people look at the some words as being guttural, they'll call them, or guttural would be a step up for Gly's real name.
Oh, let's see here.
It's not easy to say. It's
Oak Van. Boy, I got to slow this down. How can I slow that down here? Yeah. Let's see. Crisco. Oh, he says Crisco.
Crisco.
Mr. M, what is the story with the China teacup from Jim P?
From this one?
Yeah. Tell everybody why you insist. I mean, literally insist on drinking your tea from a teacup.
Okay, because they have teacups and they have coffee cups. I'll tell you something, though, all kidding aside, like 4 years ago, I went through a really tough time in my life, and I was using a lot of caffeine and things, and I got off the caffeine and I started having chamomile tea, and it kind of was calming and kind of the exact opposite of what was happening with me with over caffeinating myself. And to be honest with you, there was a year in my life that I didn't really know what to do next. And being able to prepare a pot of tea and make it just so, and add honey and enjoy it, took 20 minutes to do. And I at least had something for those 3 times a day during that 20 minutes to do. And it's just kind of stayed ever since. I get plenty of hydration from it. It's chamomile during the daytime sometimes, and it's divine if you ever take the time to do it. It's a nice little break for yourself. That's why. And bone china seems to like dissipate the heat to where you can drink it. The top's not real hot and you don't burn your lip. And this style of bone china cup is the one that I've found that works the best for me, and I just love it. That's all. And there's probably a lot of you that enjoy tea too, so you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm not a tea drinker, so I'm going to have to take your word on it.
There you go.
That's right. Okay, here's a question that I get asked all the time in the comments section. Do you guys ever plan on working with Brent at Sierra Gordo over there in California at the Ghost Town Living? And the answer is, so here's what happened. So last summer, I was contacted by one of the owners of that Ghost Town site. I didn't talk to Brent because at the time he was going through appendicitis. And I left a message. He didn't return my call, but that's understandable. I mean, he's having minor surgery done. But anyways, everything just kind of fell through the cracks. I didn't get back in contact with the other owners. I had other minds, had to get out and go document, and it was getting late in the summer. And so that thing never really came together to head over there. So I guess what I'm waiting for now is if Brent invites us to Sierra Gordo, then by all means we'll head over there. An invite directly from Brent or directly from one of the other owners of that to use the schnozelator to go down that 1,000-foot shaft.
We'd be happy to.
Yeah, we'd be happy to, because ultimately that's what I'm interested in on their property. A lot of the other adits and other areas of that mine have already been documented or explored, but one of the areas that has not been is that 1,000-foot shaft, and that would be the perfect thing to use the schnozelator on. So that's the story in a nutshell. If we get invited to head over there this coming summer, by all means, we'll pack up, roll up, and head on over.
And I might add, it's a cool show.
Yeah, it really is. That's pretty neat. And I wasn't sure if he was planning on living there through the winter, and apparently he is. So pretty cool.
Yeah, gutsy.
Yep. Okay, what else we have here? Oh, are you ever planning on working with Frank again? Well, the answer was yes. I was going to meet up with him this last fall, but pretty much COVID messed all that up for both of us. So that whole big plan has been put off until the world finally settles down a bit in the COVID thing area.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which,
yeah, you know,
I'd like to point out, this is the first time you've heard Guy or I mention COVID.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it, but that's what kept Frank and I from getting back together again and exploring some mines in we were going to do some in Washington, maybe in western Montana, and that just fell to pieces. But sometime down the road, I hope to work with him again. Yes, he moves through mines like a fighter jet on high octane fuel, but he's a lot of fun to hang out with and work with. Okay.
Look at rug bottle. What's that one right there?
Hey, good morning. So stoked
to be able to make it to the live show.
Love the videos. I live in northern Nevada, as was growing up. It was always stay out of the mines, stay alive. We explored us, you know, kids. Yeah, you guys.
Ruger.
You guys that have grown up around, in the western United States, you know all about the abandoned mines and all about the stay out and stay alive signs, et cetera, et cetera. That's one of the reasons why we built the schnozelator the way that we did, is because around a lot of these vertical shafts, there's debris piles, there's fencing, and this allows us to poke right straight through any of that kind of stuff so that we can dangle dead center, and now we can start exploring a lot of these vertical shafts.
This is going to have a lot of applications, the schnozelator 5000.
It is. Well, what's going to be really interesting is to see what's in the bottom of a lot of these holes, because over the last 100 years, people seem to have this mindset that when you throw something down a mine shaft, it'll never be seen ever again. Well,
they weren't counting on the schnozelator 5000.
They weren't. No, they were not. So this is going to be real interesting. What could possibly be found in some of these?
Jimmy Hoffa.
I could go on and on, but I'll let you guys use your imagination. Have you ever experienced any Tommy knockers? No. No Tommy knockers. Nothing paranormal, no ghosts, no cold spots, no orbs. No. I mean, I've been in and out of these holes for 30 years. Well, since 1984, I've crawled in.
What about that time that you ran into Sasquatch?
Well, I thought that I triggered a collapse.
Okay. So I guess that's still no.
Well, okay, so
what about the time you heard tapping on a pipe when you were 600 feet down?
That was you, Mr. Shaving a haircut 2 bits.
Still no.
No. I guess there's a lot of people that have watched the Sasquatch episode and would like to know a little bit more about that one. So I ended up calling it the Sasquatch episode, not because I saw a Sasquatch. It's because after it was all said and done, we were joking around like, well, what could it have been? And he said Sasquatch, and that's why I named it that in the title. But what really happened was, as I was going into that mine, all of a sudden up in front of me, a whole bunch of rock just come tumbling down out of an ore pass. And it scared the holy crap out of me. I mean, because I've been in a vertical shaft once before in the 90s that collapsed right underneath my feet. And when that thing gave way, it was, I mean, you wouldn't want to be underneath it. So if you hear rocks starting to tumble like that, the first thing that you only have seconds, literally seconds, to evacuate a different direction.
So he sprang out of like a gazelle.
I sprang like a gazelle so fast, I tripped over my own feet, okay, went to the ground and, just busted my arm and everything into the ground, trying to get away from the noise, thinking that it was a collapse. And then when I got to think about it some more, I kind of thought that more than likely there was an animal in there that I spooked, and it ran right up the ore pass and up and out of the mine, and along the way it's kicking rocks and making all kinds of noise, and that's more than likely what happened.
I didn't go in that one. I don't remember why.
No, you didn't. No.
Maybe I didn't want to walk all the way down to the portal.
Yeah, you didn't want to go down to the bottom of the hill.
Right.
But,
it was like 800 feet down this thing, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so. But I will tell you this. It was funny when Glide came back up. I wish I'd had the cameras rolling, because he looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Well, I mean, your reaction time is short in these places if things start to go sideways, because when they do, it's going to happen fast.
How come there's no great questions on here yet?
Let's look for another one.
Like,
okay.
Oh. And we're going to be doing an episode on the Schnozelator 5000 on abandoned and forgotten footage in the next week. So if you guys that have subscribed to my channel, thank you very, very much. It's abandoned and forgotten footage, and I use leftover stuff that we didn't use in Gly's show, and a lot of the in-cab stuff, and I'm having fun with it. I'm doing Gly's got a substantial amount of drone work that he's done in some extraordinary places, and I've found some really nice artists to make little drone music videos with, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. I'm loving making them. I don't think there's anything more beautiful than these things. I just think they're just beautiful. Anyway, we're going to tell you all about the Schnozelator.
And
5,000.
Yes, 5,000. But before we go there, we have Shad says, "Hey guys, a small request. Could you maybe make more than one episode per week? We would really love to see you guys more often."
I told you.
Well, okay, so for abandoned and forgotten places, because of the level, the production quality has gone up. It's basically you explore a mine on one day or 2 days. You drive out there, you got to get all the way back, then you got to come back, you got to download all of the footage into the computer, arrange it all, sort it all, then finally you start to edit. The way it's working now with this current format is I can really only produce one a week.
That's breakneck.
Yeah, and that's breakneck. The new computer that the channel has purchased has really helped that process a lot. But if I tried to produce 2 a week, the production quality is going to go down, and you guys don't want that. I want to keep the production quality high. I want to keep the show entertaining and educational. I just don't want to shortchange it. So
and it would be shortchanging you guys if you were to take one episode and just lop it in half.
Yeah.
And play half of it for you on Wednesday and the other half on Saturday.
Yeah.
Everybody be calling foul on that one, even me.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to take an episode and to break it 2 parts, like what I did over Christmas. I left you guys on a cliffhanger. It was a rather fun cliffhanger with the dead animal.
That was bones. So nasty. You're just nasty.
I usually don't. I usually don't like to do that because. Well, I did it because I wanted to have a 2-week break over the holidays, and that offered that 2-week break. That's why I broke up that episode. So I hope you understand. But hey, it was a fun cliffhanger. You got to see me go through some bones, and I get the sneaking suspicion that I'm going to be rifling through more bones in the near future when we get to the bottom of these holes.
True that.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I hang behind sometimes, because.
Let's see here. He says, where did it go here? Oh, I'm not mentioning slee stacks and graboids.
Nice one.
Yeah.
That was in that episode. We went down an incline shaft that was probably at a what, 18 degree, 16 degree,
Roughly.
And we went in 4,000 feet down it, and we're 1,750 feet underneath the surface when we got down to where we went. And then this old guy had to walk all the way back out of it. And we were making fun of Randy, but that's the one. Didn't we have him bring out a big old piece of?
That's right. That
he brought out like a 25. Thanks, Randy. Brought out a 25-pound chunk of pyrite.
Yep.
And he was walking circles around me and Gly on the way out.
Yeah, and that chunk of pyrite helped buy some new equipment for the channel. It was a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw a really good one here. What is the do you guys set up camp on BLM land? Also, what are you camping in? Oh, that all depends. We're all over the place. Yeah, we're just all over the place most of the time. Yeah, this is all public land out here. Gosh, just tens of thousands of miles on, and we're just bouncing around all over the place.
And we're able to park to where our doors face one another, and we set up a little fire ring and stuff in between us. And
Yep. Hello from Patrick. Hello from Alberta, Canada.
Hi. Hello, Canada.
I would like to comment on safety. I'm glad to see that you guys adhere to some of the safety rules and equipment. Better to stay safe. Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about. The other side of the coin, when you finally start getting into the rope work. Now, I used to do ropes and climbing. I did more free climbing when I was younger. I worked with ropes and rigging and all that stuff too, so I'm not 100% novice in it. But the other side of the coin, when you get into ropes and rigging, especially if you're putting yourself out in front of thousands of people, is you're going to be receiving a never-ending, what would you say? Advice.
You did this wrong.
You did that wrong. I saw you didn't do that. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And guys, it's not that I don't appreciate the advice. Like I said, I'm not 100% novice. But sometimes it really fills up the comment section. It really does. And speaking of the comment section, lately I haven't been able to answer as many comments as I would like to on the channel. And that's because the channel right now is receiving anywhere from about 500 to 800 comments per day. And that's channel wide. That's from premiere episode all the way up to 84. And when you're getting that many per day, there's just absolutely no way to keep up with it. It would be a full-time job, especially when you're trying to be out exploring and editing, etc. So I do my best, guys, to answer the most relevant comments, especially if there's some good ones about geology or things that I find in the mine, etc. But most of the time, I can answer comments when a new episode premieres on Saturdays and then maybe into Sunday morning. But after that, we're out in the field, we're documenting, we're exploring, and I just can't answer comments through the rest of the week. So to end that thought, if you want me to answer a comment, try to get it in on Saturdays when a brand new episode premieres. That'd be great. Then I can usually jump on it.
You thought I was going to interrupt you.
I'm used to it. So
what does that say right there? Wait,
which one?
A lot of people still think Mr. M is.
Oh yeah, a lot of people still think that Mr. M's 84 years old.
Now, how'd that rumor start?
I don't know. You kind of smell like Ben Gay.
See, I'm 64.
He's 64, guys. But I tease him all the time.
Right.
Yep.
And so I've got you by what? 15 years. So I'm an old man and he's a spring chicken.
Yes, Mr. M is 64. He's not 84.
But I'll tell you this, getting up and going out and doing stuff is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Moving, getting around, seeing new areas.
Yep. Yeah, because a year ago you were having big problems with your knees and everything, and that's why you couldn't follow me down a lot of those inclines.
Yeah.
And now look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, what worked for you is basically what worked for me when I was going through my therapy.
And
yeah.
you know, with Gly beating his cancer and the way that his show came about from the tragedy of the cancer that he had, he started interacting with a lot of you on the comment sections. And long before I was even involved in his show, I might have gone in a couple of minds with him. But I think that his favorite part of doing Abandoned and Forgotten Places was his ability to interact with you people that couldn't do what he's doing for one reason or another, and were vicariously living through him and his actions in his show. And he was touched by that more than I think any part of this entire process. And I'm pretty certain he'd tell you that he continues to be today.
Yeah, absolutely. I get a lot of messages in the comment section. I even get private emails from you folks that are in the same situation, kind of like what I was back then. And all I can say is I realize everybody's situation is different, but just never give up.
Don't quit.
Never give up. Don't quit. I mean, this whole idea of me exploring abandoned mines and jumping back into my hobby again, it started literally with me sitting in the chemo chair in 2018, watching videos of Frank Schlichting, Canadian Frank, back when he was still making videos with his dog Max. Okay, remember those old ones? So I'm sitting there in the chair. They're pumping battery acid in my veins, and I'm watching Frank's videos. And I told myself, if someday if I ever get out of this chair, you know, I'm going to switch gears and head off in a new direction. And that's exactly what I've accomplished. Only a couple years later. So yeah. And it was a struggle. It really was, but you can do it. I mean, you can climb out of it. At least elevate yourself to a more comfortable level. I mean, with me, my neuropathy is never going to go away. I still deal with it every single day. That's just something I live with. And as well as the neurological things it does to your brain, that's something you'll have to live with for the rest of your life. But hey, everything else is going in a good direction. So
yeah, and we're all on this side of the dirt still, you know.
Yeah, that's right. The goal is to stay on this side of the dirt,
and that's where we're all at right now.
Yep. Okay. Craig says, do tortoises run away when they see you coming? They get a little startled.
Small children run away when they see him coming.
They get a little startled when they see the light. Whenever I throw light on a critter in a mine, they're like, whoa, what do we have in here? I mean, you saw the reaction of those two skunks. That was kind of neat.
They were cute.
Let's see. Hello from Texas. I really enjoy the channel. Love the Jeeps and dad jokes. Keep up the great work. I learned a lot about mines and geology thanks to you guys. Yeah, thank you too. And you notice I've been trying to incorporate, you know, more geology in the show. I don't want to get too crazy with it because you know, a lot of people are going to click off if you know, so I like to just, you know, touch on the geology that I see as I'm going through the mine, as well as explaining why the miners did what they did and dug out these places. I think that's a lot of fun.
Your shows would be 3 hours long if you went into it. And
yeah, I mean, guys, I have no formal degree in geology. Okay, I am what would be considered a amateur geologist. Okay, I've loved geology ever since I was a little tiny kid. Ever since I dug a 12-foot deep hole in my backyard when I was 10 years old, trying to look through the rock layers. It's just been an underlying interest of mine my entire life. And I know a lot about it, but I don't want to dive too deep into it on the show. I want to keep the show more about exploration, discovery of artifacts, mine layout, and then touch on the geology as I go. What else do we have here?
You know, it seems like every time we're not talking, I should be asking people to please like and subscribe Abandoned and Forgotten Footage and turn on notifications and tell both of your friends.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Mr. Gray, Uriel Gray, about Patreon. Gly isn't setting up one due to it being a bit more work. Yeah, I looked into setting up a Patreon account, and it does require management. It really does, and it's just one more layer of stuff that I would need to do throughout the week to stay on top of it. And I don't want to focus my efforts anymore or divert my efforts anymore away from producing great content, and that's why I don't have a Patreon account. If you guys want to donate to the channel, I recommend the PayPal tip jar, or buying some merchandise like some T-shirts, hats, coffee cups. At least that way you're getting something, for your donation. But I probably will never have a Patreon account because it's just, well, I wouldn't say let's say never, but for right now, it's not going to happen for at least another year or two until I can get somebody that can manage that for me. I just want to stay focused on finding great minds and producing great content.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing, and that's what you got to keep doing.
Yep.
Shoemaker, stick to thy own. Again, quiet time, abandoned and forgotten footage.
Have you had any legal issues with going into any of these mines? Yeah, a lot of people ask me about that. And so what I can say on that is this. We've been to a lot of locations where they were clearly being worked. They're clearly signs up all over the place. There's evidence that people are working them, and we don't document those. Mm-hmm. We've driven by hundreds that have been like that, and we just move right on. And I'm not really interested in those anyways, because they're just going to be filled with a lot of modern artifacts and a lot of modern trash. And you guys don't want to see that. You guys want to see stuff that hasn't been, touched or worked going, 40, 50, 80, 100 years back. That's what you guys really want to see. So I concentrate on the ones that I know are abandoned. Now, have I ever been contacted and someone said, "Hey, I caught you," or blah 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 blah? Yes, that's happened once, and I kindly said, "Well, when we were out there, there was no signs, there was nothing there. The place was just derelict," and I learned later that they went out and put up a whole bunch of signs 1 year after we explored the area. Well, that doesn't count. I mean,
well, there's another one, that a year ago, Gly and Frank documented, and we went there a month or so ago.
Yep.
And the mountain was gone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Frank and I documented a mine. That's right, a year ago, and Mr. M and I happened to be in the area, and I wanted to show him this mine that Frank and I went to, and we popped up over the hill. Holy cow. I mean, there's the biggest mining operation you've ever seen in your life over there.
And the mountain is gone.
Gone. So, if you guys go back in through the episodes, take a look at I called it the Rainbow Mine. Okay, that's what I named it when Frank and I documented it. It's called the Rainbow Mine. Gone. I mean, literally, they tore the whole mountain down.
They had some beautiful equipment there, though.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Really beautiful equipment. 20 pieces of it. Big stuff.
Oh, hey, Al down south says, "Are you going to team up with Jeff Williams?" That would be a hoot. I would love to team up with Jeff. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he interacts with us a lot.
He does. He interacts with us in the comment section. I'm going to reach out to Jeff this summer and see what he's up to. Maybe we can put something together. That would be a lot of fun.
See if you can get him to bring me along too, Gly.
I don't know. I got to think about that.
No, I like Jeff Williams. He's got a great show. He's funny.
He is funny.
Boy's funny.
Heck yeah. Yep. Okay. So Jeff, if you're watching this,
we think you're funny.
I'll be calling you.
And we think you're funny.
Oh,
And smart too. You know, honestly, unless Jeff Williams does what Glide does, he's really smart. Because what Glide does, like he said, he doesn't have a degree or anything. And I'm usually following 20 paces right flank rear with my gear when we're going in places, and I can hear him up ahead. And he'll make up words for types of rock and stuff that I'm certain don't exist.
K9758 says, at least you guys have a good reputation of not disturbing or taking the artifacts out of mines.
True that.
Yeah. I don't take artifacts out of mines.
There's no future in it.
There isn't. I mean, you got two different camps out there, guys. Okay. You got the camp that's like, let's take artifacts out of mines and put them into museums, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have the other camp that says, never take artifacts out of mines, no matter what. All right, I'm just going to stay right here. I'm not going to go this way or that way. In the end, I mean, for me, it's all about the explorer. I just want to get down into these places and show you guys what hasn't been seen in 100 years. For me, just getting it on film, you know, rifling through some newspapers, getting a date off of a box, that's good enough for me. If somebody else 100 years from now or 50 years from now wants to go back down that same hole and get that same artifact, that's fine, whatever. But it doesn't take precedent on my show. I am more. I just want to show you guys some neat things that I find down in these places. Okay.
I found a penny and a name tag, a little teeny name tag.
That's right.
It was nailed to a cross member in a inclined shaft that had probably been there for 70 or 80 years. And this is a place that we went back to 4 times. And the first time we were there, I took it. And the last time we were there, I put it back in the nail hole that it was in and left it there. I didn't feel right about having that thing. Some miner put that on that beam for a reason.
Right.
And I took it off for no reason other than it was shiny and I wanted it.
Well,
so it's back there.
Even that knurled piece of wood that I brought out and showed you.
Nice work on that.
Just, you know, that stayed right back in the mine. I just walked it back in and leaned it up against the wall. So like I said, guys, I truly understand both sides of the argument, but on this channel, I'm going to stay middle of the road.
Yeah. And most boomtown, excuse me, most boomtown mining towns from the late 1800s all had a huge dump near them. And if you want to find that kind of stuff that you're finding down in there, there's big piles of it that you can rifle through and look for stuff if you want to go take stuff. Even it's protected, though.
Yeah. Patrick W. says, Gly, I tried to support the channel by purchasing through your eBay site, but you do not ship to Canada. Does your merch store ship to Canada? Yes. Yes, the merch, T-shirt, hats, coffee cups, that does all ship to Canada. But no, I haven't been shipping to Canada on the eBay stuff because of the, you know, the price and the shipping. And lately, to be 100% brutally honest with you guys, I have not been offering more rock samples on my eBay site because of the terrible, how would you say, a terrible situation that USPS is in right now. I've had lost packages that have literally went back and forth 6 to 8 times from coast to coast before they made it to the person that bought the specimen. The list goes on and on and on, and it's all because of what's going on in the world right now. So that's why I've backpedaled a little bit. I just don't have time to deal with all of the. I didn't get my package. I didn't get, you know, this. It's just been crazy with shipping, and so that's what's going on. And I would love to offer more, and I'm going to, but I'm waiting for things to kind of settle down a bit.
Ian Morris, yes. We would love to come to England and explore your mines.
That would be really cool. There is a lot of great places to explore in Europe, in England. I'm hoping as the channel grows that the doors will open up so we can start doing things like that.
And we can stay at places like at Ian's house and eat shepherd pie and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Or other English dishes, mutton.
See, guys,
Mutton.
what I want to do, you know, because I'm kind of new on the scene in abandoned mine exploration. I want the channel to grow to where this channel is like we become, you know, like really respectable mine explorers, because there's a lot of mines in the country that would be that are off limits. For example, on the west side of Area 51, now not Area 51 within Nellis Air Force Range. I'm talking about the far western side of Nellis Air Force Range. There is a bunch of mines out there that have never been seen, never been documented. And as the channel grows, wouldn't that be fun to get special permission from the base commander or something along those lines that was set up a year or two in advance, that we could go out and document some of these places? You know, that kind of next level exploring is what I want to see this channel migrate to. We're not there yet, and we probably won't be there for at least, you know, a few more years, but I want to seek out and find locations around the world that are really hard to get into and would be really fun to document. Like, that's what I consider next level documentation. Maybe the first step before that process is getting into some of those big mines up there in Alaska. That would be a lot of fun. So the way you guys are going here, and telling all your friends about the channel, we're going in that direction, and we're going in that direction fast. And I think over this next year, getting into class 4 and class 5 is really going to help the channel, because now I can start to show you places that guaranteed no one's been into for 100 years.
I'm glad I answered Ian. He's asked that same question like 80 times. I'm glad I answered you, Ian.
Let's see.
It pays to be persistent.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, time to brew some coffee. Yes, my coffee is getting a little chilly here. Oh, love from Germany.
Danke Shane.
Let's see here.
What's it say about Mr. M right there?
Where I don't.
I just pointed at it.
Oh wait. You ever been?
Oh man, you should have been letting me read this the whole time. That's why. Can't you put it over?
Oh wait. So he said, I just passed it up here, but someone asked, have you ever been stranded in the hills? Yeah, should we tell? I suppose we should tell them how we almost destroyed old Bob, or I almost destroyed old Bob.
When we almost flipped it, or are you talking about when you burned the starter motor out of it, or are you talking about
when I put it on one wheel?
Right, that was a good one.
So
it's a good thing that we had the winch.
A lot of these, okay, so a lot of these roads that we go on out in the backcountry in the middle of nowhere, they have what are called cut roads. And a cut road is where you take a bulldozer, you go up to the side of the hill, and you cut a road into the side of the hill to get to the mine site. Well, years and years go by, and a lot of the material that comes down off the hill sloughs back into the road that they cut. So you end up on this really kind of a crazy angle like that. So I took old Bob up this cut road. When we got up there, I couldn't turn around, and I had no choice but to back down.
We're on slate,
and we're on a.
You can't back up.
You can't
going downhill.
You can't.
It wants to go this way, no matter how hard you cut your front wheels.
So old Bob went and fell right off the side of the cliff
and come up on one wheel.
And he's literally like this. And I would say he was probably 6 inches from going over fulcrum, and he would have tumbled down a 400-foot ravine.
Glad I was in it. I had the presence of mind of getting out prior to this happening, and I was holding on to the front bumper.
He hopped out and dangled his weight off the passenger side door. And now understand, guys, before this happened to us, I didn't have a winch on old Bob. And the only reason I put a winch on him is because about 2 weeks prior, we were in the same type of situation in his Jeep. And after we got out of that situation, I said to Mr. M, I said,
It's time.
It's time. And so that very next few days, I ordered one up and got it installed. And wouldn't you know, on the maiden voyage of the brand new winch, we almost rolled old Bob. And if it wasn't for that winch, we wouldn't have got him out of that hole.
No, and it would have been 15 revolutions when it rolled down that thing.
Oh,
and there were no trees there. I found this one rock kind of poking out up top, and I chiseled a spot on it to where I could get the rope around, and I put my glove around it so that the rock wouldn't tear up the rope. I didn't know how far in the rock was. It was far enough.
Yep. Let's see here.
You know, I've seen people do podcasts and stuff like this where they sit around and nobody's asking them any questions or commenting to them, and they just we could just be pretending like people are asking us this, you know.
Gordon Thrasher
Nice
says, any future mines where you'll be using the black light, would love to see this. Yeah, so right now I've got that really good UV light.
You don't want to use it in your bathroom.
You don't want to use it in your bathroom. Don't go there. But anyways, I carry it on my chest over on this side here. I've taken it into a lot of mines, but a lot of the mines I've been exploring lately haven't had fluorite in them. Now, that scheelite tends to fluoresce too, like this last really sketchy mine that had all of the knife blade looking rocks in there. But the last thing on my mind when I was in that mine was to pull out my UV light and start shining it around. I just basically wanted to get in, document that little section, and get the heck out of there. That was a extremely dangerous mine, not a place to loiter. But I'm hoping to find some more fluorite mines that I can pull the flashlight out, and we can check it out. Yeah, because that'd be pretty darn cool. And that's a bright UV light that I've got there.
Mm-hmm. He carries it with him everywhere he goes, but he rarely pulls it out. And only Randy is really qualified to work with it.
This is my favorite Saturday morning cartoon show. Well, thank you very much, Derek. We try to make it fun for you guys. Let's see. Where in Nevada did you bury Randy? I think he's buried under some snow right now.
Yeah, actually, we tried, but the earth spit him out.
Have you been in any Utah mines? Any plans for heading that direction? Yeah, someday I would like to get into southern Utah, into that area. That would be a lot of fun. A lot of Utah mines are sealed up and gated, etc. It's real. I don't know. It's kind of touch and go in Utah. I know that there's a whole bunch that are still open, but again, there's a whole bunch that are gated or been blasted shut. So,
Glide, people would probably feel like you were talking to them if you'd look up at the look at the camera right there.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Look, everybody, Glide.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Look, there's a whole bunch of people out there that
they're right there.
We have an awful lot of fun. It seems almost nonstop with us when we're going places. It's a good way to pass the time. I know most of you have friends that you cut up with, and that's probably why you enjoy seeing our interactions, because you might remember a time when you had a friend that you could treat that way.
Hey, so here's a good question. So what is your method of choosing mines? Google Earth. So, I have some proprietary methods that I've developed over years and years of finding these locations.
It involves using willow branches, crystal balls,
divining rods.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sprinkle a little, dust and throw it over your shoulder. But anyways, yes, I do have some proprietary methods, and ultimately it does narrow down to where I will pinpoint a location on Google Earth after I have found these places using these other methods to see if there's any noticeable waste rock piles, any noticeable adits or portals within the area. And then one of the things that I like about Google Earth is you can take the ruler tool and snap a line around the waste rock pile, and that'll kind of give you an idea of square feet. And anything over, over 7,000 to 10,000 is going to be a decent mine. Of course, it doesn't give you depth, but circumference kind of gives you an idea of how big the mine's going to be. I use it a lot. I do. And with that being said, that takes a lot of time going through maps and finding these locations, and then jumping to Google Earth and going back to another location, then jumping to Google Earth. And that takes hours and hours. So one of our good friends, Mr. Chris Ackerley, he is what we consider our mine location specialist.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. I know you're watching. He's just incredibly helpful because he takes the time to look at all these locations and to look for the big mines with large waste rock piles, large head frames, inclined rail systems, things of that nature. And so then we can narrow down our explore to just these really nice sites rather than bouncing around to a lot of these smaller mines. So
and there's more that goes into that formula too, in that optimally will be accessible, but barely.
Yep. But barely, or hard to get into.
Real hard to get into. There's some place that's miles away from.
And on many occasions, we have driven many miles to get to a mine site that looked absolutely incredible on Google Earth, only to get there and it's completely collapsed or gated or something like that. So
I guess some states have different rates. We didn't get blanked an awful lot in Nevada.
Yeah.
But here, half of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, in a lot of Arizona is private land. Back 80 to 100 years ago, these were all patented mining claims that eventually became people's property, and eventually people build homes on them, on these properties. And so it's just really hard to find an abandoned mine in certain, not everywhere, but certain parts of Arizona because of all of the private property.
How many?
Oh, how about this one? Tell us more about your encounter with Wonder Hussy. Do you want to do this one?
Well, sort of.
Okay, I'll help you out.
Okay. Can I tell them about the part where I went in that little shed next door?
No, come on now. Well,
okay. So long story short, these guys are. We're all in documenting a mine, and I came outside.
Yep.
Because I had to go to the bathroom. So I went all the way outside and I went in this little shed, and I kind of went to the bathroom, and then
he's not making this up.
There was this like piece of plywood, a little piece of plywood, and I kind of like covered it up with it.
But what was funny was, so while we were in there documenting those lower levels of the mine, Wonder Hussy rolls up on the same location that we were at. Okay, now this is not planned. It was purely coincidence.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. And but what I couldn't believe after watching her show, that she actually had enough kahunas to walk into that mine, not knowing, who these people were. She heard our voices, but yeah, so that's how that, so by the time I got up and out of the mine, met back up with Mr. M, and we walked outside to discover the sticker on the windshield of his Jeep, she was already long gone and down the road. So
if she'd have been there 10 minutes earlier, she could have documented Mr. M's movement.
Yeah. I'm just glad well, you know what? She did walk into that shed.
I know.
I don't recall her saying, "My God, something died in here." But hey.
I'll bet you never bring up Wonder Hussy with us again.
But that's how that all played out. That was pretty darn funny.
It would have been fun to meet her because Gly kind of thinks that she's got a cool show.
She's got a cool show, and she's a very adventurous lady. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that.
If my name was Sven, I'd have a lot better chance.
How many?
Change your name to Sven.
How many people do you know that females that go out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the wilderness,
Hear
all on their
voices,
own,
hear voices, and go in anyway.
and still have enough kahunas to adventure in anyways. You got to respect that.
Have you noticed that you keep shoving me over this way to where? No, honestly, look.
I'm just there. You go. Wait, move your head over a bit.
How's that?
Oh, Randy says
Randy again?
Randy goes, you guys thought I planted the sticker on the Jeep. Well, initially, yeah, we did, Randy. We thought you were toying with us. I don't know where you would have gotten the sticker from, but
no.
But we did. We were blaming Randy there for a while because it's like, come on, what are the odds that would have happened? So.
Right. And Wonder Hussy giving Randy a sticker?
Doubtful. Sorry, Randy.
Randy just ticks people off. He ticked off the good humor man.
Oh boy. Okay. Have you ever encountered any noxious gases in mines? No, not yet. Other than I did find some rusted barrels once that were filled with animal remains, 80 to 100 years worth of mice and pack rats that fell down into the hole because they were down in there trying to get a drink of water and couldn't come back out. I could only imagine that the bottom of that 55-gallon drum had a foot or two of gross in it, and the fumes that it was giving off was setting off my O2 sensor. But other than that, no, I have yet to run into hydrogen sulfide gas.
His breath sends off his O2 sensor sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Coffee breath will do that.
Sorry, Glenn, go ahead.
But no, nothing yet. But with that said, that is a big concern for the type of explorers that are coming up, because when I'm dropping down a vertical shaft on a rope, I don't want to lower myself into a bubble of bad air. When you get down 300, 400, or 600 feet, there's no air circulation down in there. The air is just going to become stale and even more stale. And the goal is to not drop into that bubble, because if you do, you're on a rope. It's not like you can just climb up a ladder and head back up. You have to change out your rigging so that you can start coming back up out of the rope or on the rope to get out of that situation. So that's going to be a very delicate situation when I'm lowering down into these shafts. If that air meter goes off, I'm stopping right there and I'm out of there. It's just not worth it.
Abandoned and forgotten footage. Like and subscribe.
Do you?
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see it right here, but one of you guys asked me, aren't you ever concerned about breathing in dust and particulate and rat droppings and all that, and hantavirus and histoplasm? Okay, so
yes, but Gly's not.
It's kind of like this.
We have the right gear.
We do. We have gear, the right masks, the right respirators. It all depends on the type of the mine that we're exploring. I do my best not to kick up a bunch of dust. Now, hantavirus and histoplasmosis do exist, and that is a danger when exploring abandoned mines. It's more of a danger to a person who has pre-existing respiratory conditions. Like someone who's had pneumonia in the past, or who doesn't have a very good immune system. In that respect, I'm good in that department. So it's just because you get hantavirus, it's not a death sentence to a person with a really good immune system like myself. But you are rolling the dice. There's no doubt about it. Don't like wearing the masks in a lot of these mines because it muffles the audio. It makes it sound absolutely terrible. So I do my best not to kick up a lot of dust, if at all possible. But it is a present danger. I'm not going to poo-poo it and go, oh no, there's nothing to it, because that ain't the truth. No, it does exist in these mines. So it's part of the dangers of abandoned mine exploring. What is the longest time you've spent down in a mine? Close to 4 hours. How long was I down in the bottom of that 600-foot shaft?
Oh my God. Yeah, you were down and back. It was 6 hours.
6 hours.
Yeah, but we were longer in that.
Yeah.
In that vertical shaft that we walked down.
Right.
We were down in there for a long time.
Yeah, that was the longest ever because of the climb.
Sometimes a couple 3 hours in one, and get lucky and find another one, spend a couple 3 hours in it.
Yep.
And sometimes we'll have to go back day after day after day to document the whole thing.
Yep. Did you ever go into a very hot mine? Yes, there was one I worked that Frank and I documented last year, that when we got into the bottom of it, it was probably 90 degrees, 87 degrees in the bottom of that mine, high humidity. I mean, we were just sweating like crazy down in there. So definitely in the area where that mine was, there was some geothermal going on to a certain extent. But that was the hottest one I've ever been in.
I like them cool with the air moving.
So Shane says maybe wear your gas meter on your feet. Well, that's not really 100% necessary, because once you start to get into that bubble, just your body movement or any amount of movement whatsoever is going to create a wake, and that wake will wash up and cover you or wherever. So it's such a minuscule, it's negligible whether you wear it on your chest or wear it on your feet.
Well,
but it's going to go off. Mine's set to go off at 19.5. You will pass out at around between 14 to 10%. You'll start to show signs of hypoxia at around 14%, and you certainly wouldn't want to go anywhere past that. So if mine goes down to 19.5. and I keep looking at it and it drops down to 19 or 18.5, I'm leaving. I'm out of there. It ain't worth it. Yeah, John, Craven, you and TVR should do a collaboration. Again, I'm probably going to be contacting Justin this summer and see if I can get with him on some Nevada mines if he's in the area this summer. That'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think it would be a lot of fun to get Justin on the schnoz and schnoz him down a vertical shaft.
They're gonna like it when they see it.
They're gonna like it. I think he would have a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah, he would.
Are you doing an active mine explore in the future? Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're heading out
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Do you ever make sketch maps of the levels, etc.? Yeah, tell them what you're thinking about doing on your show, Mr. M.
Oh, thanks, Clay. So yeah, I want to do a show and do a show on mining terminology and have cutaway maps and things like that, so that I can draw mine shafts and adits, vertical shafts, incline shafts, and how they're all basically the same. I mean, when you have a vertical shaft down at about every 100 feet, you go out. You go down 100 feet, you go out. And you're trying to get your material from up top and stope it and get it out, haul it out and get it away. But there's winzes and stopes and stoves and stoles, and there's just so many terms that most people, glide rattles off, and most people don't understand what they are. So I'm going to do a little show and call it Mining Terminology Explained by the fantastic Mr. M. Available only on YouTube. Abandoned and forgotten footage. It's going to get like 1 million views.
Hey, Jeff, it's good to see you in the comment section here. He goes, what? Now collab with me and Slim.
What? I know who it is. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going? Yeah. Let's get together and work on a fun mine this summer. Maybe somewhere up in Nevada, we'll find a vertical shaft and do something really cool. That'd be great. That would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would.
Let's see if we can put something together. Contact me at abandonedandforgottenplaces@hotmail.com. That's abandonedandforgottenplaces@hotmail.com, and we'll see if we can't put something together. It'd be a hoot.
We know where to put you up too.
Oh yeah, that's all taken care of. Have you ever found any gold nuggets?
Lie.
Only when I had my gold mine back in the 90s. That's the only time in my life I found gold nuggets. I've never found gold nuggets in a mine. However, I have found many ore bodies that would potentially still contain gold if you crushed up the rock and took it out of the mine and did what the miners had to do to extract it. Well, sure, absolutely. But as far as like a nugget, no, never in a mine. But I definitely found some in my placer operation that I ran at my family's gold mine back in the 90s. Jeff says, will do. Thanks, Sonny Jim. Cool, Jeff. That'll just be a blast, man. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that will, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can do a show on abandoned and forgotten footage about the Jeff Williams show.
You can do a show about the show.
About your show.
About my show.
About doing a show with his show.
Exactly.
We'll work on that.
We'll work on that. Let's see here. See, look at everybody here that's saying we would love to see Jeff and you guys work together. Yeah, it'd be fun. Let's see. There's more gold in my computer than a lot of these rocks. Easier to separate too. You know, I'm not going to disagree with that.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know, Newmont will process a ton of ore to get 0.3 of an ounce of gold.
Yeah.
So the places that we're going generally are much richer than that. The back in the day, they wouldn't even have looked at 0.3 of an ounce of gold per ton as being anything viable or worth working. Period. If you weren't getting an ounce or 2 or 3 ounces of gold per ton, you weren't going to do it. And there at the Florence with Jeff documented it a year or so ago. Mm-hmm. They had one period where they took 60 tons out of their 60 ore carts. I believe it was 50 or 60 of them, and they all yielded 60 ounces of gold or more per ton. That's rich ore.
That's really rich ore. And again, yeah, like he said, a lot of the mines that we explore back, 80 to 100 years ago, they had to be very strategic in the ore that was removed. So they chased directly after those high-grade veins or those high-grade ore bodies because it takes a lot of work to move worthless rock. And that's why they were very strategic in what they were doing. And that's why these old gold mines and silver mines look the way that they do. But these days, they just rip down an entire hill. They'll rip down a whole mountain.
You ever come across a mine that you will absolutely not explore due to any sort of a tragedy? There's that one.
Okay, so what mines? That's a good question. What mines will I not explore?
Coal.
I will never explore a coal mine, ever, because coal mines use up all the oxygen because of all of the organic matter that's in there. It's called black damp, and they're just death traps. So I'll never explore a coal mine. Second are soft strata mines. Soft strata mines are like talc mines. They're very dangerous. Now, I realize that other mine explorers have gone into talc mines, but it does not take much to trigger what's called a cascading event or a cascading collapse in a talc mine, and the whole place will come in down on around you. So I don't like soft strata mines. Now, where we're about to explore in Nevada this coming summer, a lot of those mines are porphyry material, and that can be real soft and flake away real easy. Those are pretty darn dangerous too. They're also filled with a lot of sulfides, and it gets really stinky in those. Not necessarily hydrogen sulfide gas, but definitely a nasty rotten egg smell. But so yeah, those are the ones I would like to stay away from. Never coal mines. I don't like doing soft stratus type stuff. And then porphyry is probably third on the list. That could potentially, especially porphyry mines with shear zones and fault gouge, like what I showed you in that one, Mr. M, because that stuff can just, once it releases, it'll just go like that, and it'll just pinch off the tunnel that you're in.
And the reason I think you called it the guillotine mine, the reason that was so nasty is because you have a hanging wall, and normally you have a foot wall,
right?
And then in between it, the cracks and fissures and things, hydrothermally, the stuff comes up through eons and eons, and it deposits your golds and silvers that are in a colloidal state. But where Glide was it had a hanging wall, and the other wall was a hanging wall too. And all that'll allow is for the material inside to peel away and fall out. That's why when you saw me sitting outside with Glide down below, and I was saying this is a spooky mine, it is, because I was looking up at the ceiling, which was and it was maybe 4 feet wide, and I was sitting down on the floor, and it was 6 feet wide, so it was angled that way, just
kind of like a reverse hourglass. Yeah, that was no doubt that was a dangerous mine.
What's that one that has 19 dead guys in it?
I can't think of it offhand here.
They have big old Jim.
Yeah, there's
that one stunk bad. Remember when we tried to get your meter to go off outside of it? It's just outside of town.
Oh, that's that mine that's just outside of town in Tonopah called is it the Belmont?
Yeah,
the Belmont, and that's the one that they had a fire in, and big tragedy. The gases coming out of that are so noxious that if you smell it for a long enough time, it'll actually give you a headache.
Yeah, just almost instantaneous.
Yeah, and so one day, just for the fun of it, we were traveling through town, and I said to Mr. M, let's go back over there and stick my O2 sensor and my H2S sensor right in the stream of those gases coming out of that vertical shaft. And I couldn't believe I could not get the sensors to sound off. So it's not H2S that's coming out of there, but it's definitely a stinky of enough smell that it gives you a headache. And it wasn't CO2 either, because if it was, the sensor would have triggered. Gordo had fatalities in it. Yeah, I think it did. Yep.
And somebody's asking about prehistoric fossils, if you've ever found any of them.
No, because we're in the wrong type of material. Fossils and things like that are going to be found in sedimentary rocks. And a lot of these mines, they don't exist within sedimentary, they exist within metamorphic. And that's why you just don't find fossils in mines. I find a lot of dendrites that are made out of manganese, but I haven't found fossils. There was a mine where I believe it was a silver mine, and part of the hanging wall was a limestone formation. Now, in that respect, you could potentially find a fossil because you're in limestone, but I haven't seen one.
Somebody's asking about the mine in Tonopah that collapsed, and everybody was outside of it for some special event. So they all survived. And I don't recall hearing that story.
I don't recall hearing that.
Jim Butler is the guy's name, though, that went down when they had that fire in the Belmont. And he pulled 19 people out of their bodies, but pulled them out.
Yep.
And then he never came out himself.
And he never came out. Yeah.
But there's monuments and things for him in town. They have Jim Butler Days in Tonopah, Nevada. It's a big deal. Jim Butler was a man's man.
Yeah. There is a lot of tragedy in hard rock mining.
Period. Everywhere you look, every ounce of it is hard. Hard living in the areas where you're living around, where you have to survive.
Yep.
Hard food, hard work, hard conditions, dangerous. And most of these people didn't make a dime.
Randy says
again?
Yeah, Randy's still hanging in there with us.
Don't you have work to do, Randy?
Come on, don't you have snow to shovel or something like that? Randy says, don't forget to say something nice for Mary and comment on her great support and cooking.
That's true.
Well, that's very true.
I'm gonna let you do it, Glenn.
It is so awesome to have somebody like Mary that she goes out of her way to cook a really nice meal after a long day of mine exploring. You know, we'll be out there all day long in the dust and the dirt and doing what we do, and to come back to a nice hot cooked meal, that's just terrific.
And I mean, a friendly face and a smile.
Yeah, she's so sweet. She's so sweet. Yeah,
she's the best thing that ever happened to me. And
yeah,
and it bounces over on the Gly, and basically everybody that Mary comes in contact with is happy that they came in contact with her, because she's so decent and fair and nice, and she's a great person,
a great gal. Yeah, one of the best I've ever met. She's just got this huge heart.
Mm-hmm. And she lets me goof around, and she's very supportive of what I do. She's just very, very wholesome and good. She's a great person.
Yep. Thanks, Mary. Yep. I know you're watching. You're awesome.
Mary. And she's making us clam chowder tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm going to start putting the recipes on my website. I mean, on my YouTube show.
Oh, okay. Oh, here's a good question. What is the average editing time for a weekly video?
His or mine?
Well, boy. Okay, so on my side, for Abandoned and Forgotten Places, I can usually edit a full video out in about 2 days, maybe 2.5. It all depends on every single mine is different, how it edits out and how I put it together.
Because it's the mine that basically tells the story.
Yeah. And
you don't really know until you see it.
See, and here's something, guys, that this is really important. Now, you'll notice that my mine exploring channel is a lot different than other mine exploring channels. The other channels are more about documenting mines, and that's why they go to a mine, they turn their camera on, and then they immediately start documenting it, and then when they're done, they just shut the camera off. I wanted to create something that brings the audience in. I want to give you an overview of what we're about to explore, then more or less just take you by the hand and make you like right there with me. That's my goal. I want you to be right next to me as we're exploring the mine. Now, don't get me wrong. These guys are doing a great job at documenting mines. Justin at TVR, I mean, he's just doing an excellent job. Great camera work, lighting, the whole bit. Frank has his own style of exploring abandoned mines. Everybody does it their own special way, but I wanted to create a channel that's more well-rounded. Is that the best way I could put it? You start by arriving on site, you fly into the mine, you do an overview so that you all know what you're about to get into, and then I dive you down into the hole. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think you guys are really enjoying that.
And, his show is actually put together more like a television show.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I wanted to do. And I'm trying
which we're used to watching. We're used to
to
having that type of input. It's a good way to portray what we're doing to you, because
Yep.
we're already set up to watch shows that way.
People have been weaned. At least people of my generation have been weaned on the television style format all of their lives. So when they see something that's built in semi this format, you can relate to it, that it's a show, you know. And I'm hoping that someday, I would like for this content to be seen on Netflix or Hulu or one of those. So until that happens, in the meantime, I'm trying to format each and every episode at around, if at all possible, 40 to 45 minutes. Because in the future, if that episode was to ever air on another one of these channels, by the time they add in their commercials, then it comes together for a full hour program. So I'm always progressive thinking. I'm thinking in the future of how this is going to play out for future programming, etc. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah. There's a bunch of hearts again.
More hearts. Oh, hi guys. I absolutely love your videos, but get nervous when you go on those old ladders. What is the most dangerous mine you have ever been in? Mr. M, you're doing great.
Oh, Mr. M, you're great. It doesn't say you're doing great.
Oh, that's right. You're great. You're great.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of you guys don't like seeing me on ladders without ropes, but like I've said in the past, in my earlier day, I did a lot of free climbing, and I'm really comfortable with free climbing and my skills in that department. And in a lot of these places, I just feel much more comfortable not having all of this gear on me, or not having to wind a rope through a whole bunch of ladders and terraces, etc., etc. I can negotiate my way slowly and carefully through the ladders and terraces, etc., so that if something was to happen, I can grab onto something else. So, okay, it all boils down to what you're comfortable with. There's a lot of people that are not comfortable on 100-year-old ladders, and they think that I'm absolutely crazy. But in many of these mines, I was very comfortable with what I was doing. I was comfortable with the woodwork in the mine, etc. But that was then. Now we're about to go to take things to a level where, yeah, there's just absolutely no way of getting into these mines unless you're on a rope or on some kind of a harness.
Somebody asked how we met.
How did we meet? Well, that happened not last summer, but the summer before. And I was up in Austin, Nevada, documenting some mines up there. And I had finished up with all the mines in that region, and I was looking for a new place to go. Excuse me. So I called him because he owns the RV park in Goldfield, Nevada. And we got on the phone and just started chatting. And before you know, we ended up in like a 2-hour conversation. And he thought it was pretty cool what I was doing. And he had a great place for me to stay. So I pulled in, and one thing led to another. We've just kind of been, this friendship's been developing ever since. It's been pretty darn cool.
It has.
Yeah. We have a lot of similarities, him and I. We joke around the same. We kind of play off each other words the same. It's pretty darn cool. You know, it's, to be honest with you guys, you know, as you get later in life, in your late 40s and into your 50s, it becomes harder and harder to find new friends, because you're set in your ways, and you don't necessarily gel with new people. Okay. So it was kind of unique to find someone that where we had a lot of similarities.
We're pretty like-minded.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's,
you know,
yeah.
And we stay on purpose. On purpose. We stay away from politics and race, religion, all of those things. They just don't have any part in our daily lives.
Right.
And so they certainly don't have any part in our show.
No.
I wish they didn't have a part in anything, anywhere. A lot of problems would be eliminated, but that isn't the world we're living in right now.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Mr. M's a great guy. He's fun to hang around with. He doesn't get on my nerves like some other people do.
I do a little bit. You know, I've blown so many of his intros. Welcome to it. Okay, let's explore this old mine. And I'm like, hey, everybody. And he's like,
oh,
why did you do that?
He can turn into such a ham. And I just have to go, would you stop already?
I ruin his show all the time, but I bring a little bit to it.
Oh, let's see.
Man, how long have we been doing this?
I think, this is our very first live show, so we're gonna hang on and take this right to 2 hours, guys.
Are we?
Yeah, we are. Let's go for it. We're getting there.
Can I?
Yeah. What?
Go to the. Can I use the?
Oh, you gotta. You bet. I can't hold it that long. Okay, so Mr. M had to take a break.
Go ahead and tell him about it's an old man thing or something like.
It's an old man thing.
Laugh it up, Chuckles.
Yeah, it's an old man thing. Okay, guys. Let me see what we have here. Wow, your comments are just awesome. I'm sorry if I haven't been able to get to all of you. They're just rolling through so quick here. Mike Wright says, hi, Glide, Mr. M. I'm in Derbyshire, UK, and here we call the adits day eyes. And what are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts that the supports are a warning system rather than actually holding the roof up? Oh, okay. So that's a common misconception about stalls. Okay, stalls are the wooden supports that you generally see hanging from the hanging wall down to the foot wall. Okay, now when miners are extracting a body of ore going up into a stope, well, as they're going up, you're taking all the ore away and you're leaving a void. Well, eventually, as you get higher and higher, you need a way to be able to work within that void. So they will put in a stall, and then they'll shim it in place nice and tight. Then they can put some planks across it and then take their drills so they have a working platform to remove the ore higher up. And they just keep leapfrogging like this all the way up the stope and all the way up in the vein. And before you know it, what you have is left over after they remove all the planking. Then there's just all of these stalls in place, and they never remove the stalls, because what happens is as they're working that up, the mountain, or the I wouldn't say not the mountain, but it's going to start to settle. Okay, the strata, the way it's made, is going to start to settle just a little bit, and it's going to squeeze and pinch on those stalls super duper tight, compressing them. And they're pretty much locked in place forever. And that's why they just leave them there. Now, there is other situations where stalls have been used only for load-bearing support. I've pointed a few of those out to you guys in the different mines that I've been to. But I'm going to say that 80% of the time, the wooden stalls that you see in these mines are for working out a vein up into a stope, and then they're left behind after they remove the planks. Yeah. We had some good times in the bat poop mine, that's for sure. My God, stink! I could never get that stink out of my clothes. It was just terrible. It was on everything. I had to even wash old Bob after that day because it got all over. It was just terrible. Andy says, what's the most ground you've ever been able to cover in a single mine? I've been in mines that have upwards of 10,000 feet of workings, of horizontal drift workings. Those were some pretty big mines. Probably the Admiral Aaron Ward mine. That was a real big one we explored this last summer, as well as I'm trying to remember the other one just outside of Rachel in Area 51. That was a huge modern mine. I mean, you could spend days. The rumor has it you could spend a week in that mine and never see all of it, and I believe it. Now, that being said, remember when I was in that mine and I showed you I crawled up that borehole, but in the process of that explorer, we found other boreholes that went to other levels. I would like to go back to that mine this coming summer and rope down one or two of those boreholes. That would be pretty fun. Throw the ropes in there and see and try to get down into some of those levels that no one's ever been in. You're back.
Did you miss me?
Did everything come out all right?
Yeah. Boy, monumental. Oh. So, what'd you do? Bore them with like mining terminology and stuff while I was gone?
No, I was telling them how I want to get back to that mine in Nevada and rope down some of those boreholes. Nice. That would be a lot of fun.
Somebody asked, Mary said, if in either of us own a gold mine. I do. I own the St. Paul gold mine, and that's what this is. It's a 16.47 acre chunk of dirt that I own that you won't find anywhere. You won't be able to find it on any maps or go to it or anything like that. But it's just outside of down in Goldfield in the mining district.
And my family's gold mine has long since been reclaimed. It was located in Wyoming, but you might see the surface, where we smoothed everything out on Google Earth, but it's no longer operation. We reclaimed it years ago.
And might I add, Coca-Cola, it's not just for breakfast anymore.
Are you looking for a sponsorship?
Oh boy. I don't drink a lot of soda pop, but when I do, it's really good.
Let's see. Living Life says, hey guys, I was looking forward to a new video in mine. Glad you're doing live, but maybe do that okay. So yeah, you don't know the whole story. The reason that we're doing a live show this Saturday is because we just had a lot of stuff come up, broken vehicles. He had to go to Oregon to pick up the schnozelator. I was down here without any exploratory vehicles because mine was in the shop. Basically, it was just one hurdle after another, which kept us out of the mines for about 2 weeks or longer. And so out there and produce any content. So what we decided to do was for this weekend, just have a live show. And that's what we're doing right now. You're right. Otherwise, we would probably do a live show somewhere in the middle of the week and something like that. But
yeah,
sometimes life throws you a curveball.
Well, everybody that's watching this knows that, Guy.
Heck yeah. Yeah, trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Uh-huh.
Look, somebody said perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Gly, what's the deepest you've ever been in the explorations? Oh. So that would have been the Sterling Mine 600-foot vertical shaft.
635.
Yeah.
I went down about 130 feet in that Sterling mine, and it was all on the manway ladders. And so they have landing, or what do they call them?
Terrace.
Mm-hmm. And every 20 feet or so. So, and I was doing nothing but kicking stuff on everybody and getting stuff kicked on me. And I knew that I wasn't going to make it 625 feet out of that thing. I went 325 feet down in one of them on a manway, and it was all I could do to get out.
Yeah, you would have had a hard time with that one.
So I bowed out on that one early, and it was 3.5 hours before I spoke with Gly again on that one.
So Judy here, McCurdy, she says the War Eagle mine is a big mine. Yeah, I know all about the War Eagle. And I probably will never be documenting that one because it's just had so many people already in it. I really want to focus now on getting into mines that nobody has been in. We've spent a year and 10 months or longer now documenting mines that a lot of people have been in, they've explored in the past. I want to switch gears now. I want to try to focus more on getting into those places that guaranteed you haven't seen in 80 to 100 years.
Cutting edge.
Yep. Do you have a favorite mine that you've ever explored? And is there a mine that tops your bucket list from Reed Carden? Well, yeah. Wow. So since I've started this channel, my two most favorite mines are going to have to be the Sterling. That would be number one when I went down 600 feet. And the number two would be the Silver Souls with the three trapped miners still in it.
The incline shaft.
Yeah. Those are my two favorites since I've started this YouTube channel.
And the Silver Souls mine would almost be a textbook of a incline shaft.
Absolutely.
And, because the way that they went down, the drifts that they went off, it was textbook.
Yeah.
Incline shaft, and still nice workings. They painted it white years and years ago.
Yep.
Still painted in some places. That's the place that I took the tag and the penny and then went back and put them back. Because I don't go, and I've never seen any ghosts or any spirits or orbs but I get spooked out in these places. And, everybody knows when you're doing something wrong. And sometimes you do something wrong and you don't realize that you're doing something wrong. And then when you do realize you did something wrong, and it's been my experience, I try to correct it as quickly as possible and move on. So I did take that tag back. It was pretty nice. Jones said on it. Jones.
Harold Ishoy. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, Harold. How do you avoid getting disoriented in large mines with lots of adits and tunnels?
The electronic breadcrumb.
Yeah, from time to time I will use the electronic breadcrumb, and those are little flashy dog collars. But most of the time I don't have to use that. See, I've been exploring these places since 1984. And if you've been in enough of them, you have an understanding of mine layout, and all of them are more or less exactly the same. Yeah, the tunnels go in different directions and whatnot, but the overall layout of the mine and how they're extracting the ore body is more or less kind of cookie cutter from the next to the next to the next. Now, the ones that you can get turned around in are more modern mines where they're starting to implement what's called the room and pillar method. And there you can get into parts of the mine where everything starts to look exactly the same. And you could potentially get yourself turned around in one of those. Now, when we were doing the, I can't remember if it was the Aaron Ward mine or that other one by, no, it was the one over there by near Area 51. That thing was so massive that one we pulled out the electronic breadcrumbs.
Electronic breadcrumbs.
I mean, it was just going every which direction. I kind of had an idea in my head of its layout as I was going along, but it was safer to throw a few breadcrumbs on the trail for that one. That was a big mine.
I do think about it though sometimes, because when Glad gets down below some places that I'm just not going to go, I'll walk around a bit and never get very far because I have to be within earshot and at least, feel that nasty, vicious blast of putrid air go across me when he touches something off down there.
Well, let's hope that never happens.
Or a huge wild scream or whatever. But, sometimes I'll be wandering around up in there and I'll get disoriented and I'll think, now, and I always try to keep in my mind's eye which way is out. But you go left and right and down ladders and, and that's, I guess, what's spookiest part about the whole thing is following Gly around is we'll go in someplace and we'll go up and over collapse or to in some sketchy areas, and then you find yourself way inside this place. And then you find a ladder that goes down 40 feet. And you find a drift that goes 1,600 feet another way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find another ladder that goes down 200 feet, and you go down it. And then you find a drift that goes 350 feet another way. And at some point in time, I always get to a point when I realize I have no idea where I am other than I'm way deep in the ground, and I've gone down bunches of ladders and crawled over bunches of stuff to get to where I'm at.
Yep.
And that's when the alarms and alerts and things start going off in my psyche. You know, the whole time we're in the ground, I am under a heightened sense of awareness, and I'm pretty sure the Gly is too, because it's just all around you. And the deeper and the more convoluted and twisted and most corners and ladders and things that I go down, and when I realize, wait a minute, I'm probably 2,000 feet underground, and in order to get out of here, it's going to take me an hour and a half of really working to get out. And it gets a little spooky to me sometimes. Gly, he thrives on it. He's hoping to find another ladder that goes down another 300 feet.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that he don't.
I am an adrenaline junkie. When I'm in these places, and the best way I can explain it, it's the thrill of discovery. It's that adrenaline of what's around the next corner, what's down the next ladder. There's no doubt about it. I've always been that way my whole life. I mean, everything from when I was a little kid, I climbed into sewer culverts, manholes, storm drains. I used to dig my own caves under the local railroad tracks so that I could look underneath the train as it's going, over the top of me. I mean, I just loved underground stuff. I grew up around near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we had these giant, monstrous storm drains that would eventually lead all the way to Lake Michigan, and we would go in there and explore miles and miles of these concrete storm drains. It was so much fun. And when I finally moved to Wyoming, and I got around these mining districts with all these abandoned gold mines, I was just like a kid in a candy store. I couldn't stay out of them, and we were in them every weekend. And that was back in the days before most of them were, all the artifacts were taken in the ore carts and stuff. So yeah, exploring abandoned mines in the 80s was a lot more fun than it is now. Pretty much everything's been taken out of these mines these days. Here's a great question I just read it here. Let me find. So Edvin says 100,000. When you get the play button, you have to do a show about it. Oh yes, I have big plans for the silver play button. You guys are going to get a good laugh out of it. Don't you worry, that's coming. I'm going to have some fun with that.
He hasn't even told me about it yet.
I haven't. No.
Oh, and on a side note about the mines and the mine explorations that we do, I'll tell you something about Gly that Gly didn't even know, and I recognized it. But neither one of us sleep good the night before we go on and explore.
Yeah, it's always that psychological prep that you're doing, because the day before an explore, you just never know what you're going to be getting yourself into. And a lot of that kind of weighs on your psyche. It's what I called psyche prep. And there's nothing that you can really do about it, because when you're sleeping, your mind just runs amok. And
subconscious.
It does. And then it never fails. The next day we go out to a mine site, we start exploring a mine, and everything turns out to be just fine. The day's a lot of fun. And then after the day is over with, there's always what I call the decompression hour. And the decompression hour happens immediately after a really good explore.
Mm-hmm.
And we're headed home, and you can actually hear the elation kind of in our voices, because
we didn't die.
We didn't die. but it's a psychological thing. It's not for everybody, and there's no doubt about it. It's not for everybody.
It's not for me. I don't know why I do it, honestly. It goes against every nerve in my body tells me don't go in there. And
well, the scariest thing that could ever happen when exploring an abandoned mine is becoming
don't say it
is becoming entombed, and that would just not be good.
The old miners used to have suicide kits that they'd carry with them in case they got trapped in there. Didn't they, Glenn?
Yeah, that's right, they did. Ebasm says, "Hey, Gly, greetings from New Berlin. Where in Milwaukee?" From New Berlin. So you live in New Berlin too? That's where I grew up when I was a kid. I lived on Forest Drive in New Berlin.
Perhaps we have a love connection here.
Yeah, just to the just right on the border of Greenfield Park. You know where that's at. Okay, hey, we're coming in on 1 hour here, guys. We're gonna have to let you go. Gosh, I really wish I could have gotten to all of your questions.
I thought we got to do it for 2 hours.
2 hours. We're at 2 hours right there.
Well, you just said we were coming up on an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Oh, 2 hours and 11 seconds.
We're at 2 hours now. So, guys, hey, thank you so much for dropping in on our first live show. We hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm really sorry I couldn't answer all of your questions, but we tried to do our best. We're going to be doing more of these in the future now that we know that I can get my HughesNet satellite dish dialed into where it'll work. So that was a lot of fun.
It was.
That was a good time.
Yeah, and hope you guys get a little better understanding about us. Thanks for asking the questions that you did about how we met and things like that, because it's germane. We're living in a time where honestly, I value Gly's friendship, and I value all my friends' friendship, but we're in a time where we need to rely on each other and be friendly with everyone.
Yeah, and guys, I'm going to do my best to keep all the things that are going on in the world right now out of the channel.
Yeah,
I just want to allow you to take a break away from everything, to hop on board Abandoned and Forgotten Places, and I'll do my best to keep taking you to some interesting and exciting locations.
Yeah, let's just do this.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Anyway,
okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe Abandoned and Forgotten Footage. It's my little spin-off show from Gly's, and it's picking up some traction, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and I'm loving producing the stuff. It's fun.
It is.
Thank you kindly, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, head on over there. It's all the stuff that you don't see on my show and a little bit more. You just never know what you're going to get on Abandoned and Forgotten Footage.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care now.
Be good to one another.
Bye-bye.